Shortly after World War II, reforestation policies resulted in large forests of cryptomeria and Japanese cypress trees, which were an important resource for the construction industry. Why do you care? As these trees matured, they started to produce large amounts of pollen. Yes, we have to talk about pollen season in Japan. Hey, Duke of Limbs here, talking to you about pollen season here in Japan. That's right, we have more than 4 seasons here in Japan. A lot of people here get hay fever, or what's known as kahunsho. Now, I thought I had bad allergies back in America, but here it's magnified times 50, and I hate it! My first year here in Japan, I unfortunately got extremely puffy right in the eye section. But eventually I learned how to mitigate the suffering. I still itch. I want to rub my eyes now, but I've gotten control of it. Now, major cities like Tokyo might be a bit better, but in the countryside, it's terrible. It's a different story. I lived in the country for about 2 years in Ibaraki and Tochigi, and it's just full of crops, fruits, vegetables, and grains, and with that, tons and tons of pollen. Oh, trees too, and flowers, just pollen everywhere. Doesn't matter when it is. It could be in the summertime, it could be in the wintertime, it could be spring. It's just pollen, 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 pollen. Now, I bet you're asking yourself, well, Stephen, why don't you just move to Tokyo? Well, I don't have Tokyo money, but that's a different story. Look out for ALT life coming up soon, hopefully. So, if you're thinking of moving to Japan or just visiting during the spring, prepare yourselves. But let me show you some of the things that I've done that could help you end your misery, or at least lessen it. So, a couple of things you can do without spending any money at all here in Japan. You can wash your eyes out with cold water. That'll get a lot of the pollen and dust out of your eyes and your eyebrows and eyelashes, and it helps you feel great instantly. I'm lucky that I have a mini hose attached to my faucet so I can pull it out and just shoot the water straight into my eyes, so it's instant relief. If that doesn't work, just take a shower. And that'll take the pollen all off of your body, on your head, arms, legs, and you'll feel instant relief then, hopefully. Or heck, if you're a millionaire, you can just stay home. Problem solved. No, we have to work. Now, if you have a couple of bucks to spend, you can start off by buying some eye drops. Now, for me, I can deal with coughing, I can deal with sneezing, I can deal with a scratchy throat and a runny nose, but when it comes to my eyes, I lose my mind. I can't rub it because, you know, all eyes are different. I chose Roto Alugard. It's cheap and it makes my eyes feel great, but it's very temporary, so I have to use a lot of it. When you're trying out eye drops, don't try a whole bunch at the same time like I did, because it makes your eyes completely terrible, even worse than hay fever. So if you're going to try some eye drops, do it at least once a day and see the difference between each day. If you want to level up, you can always buy some eye wash. Now, I bought this recently. You just put some liquid in a bucket that sort of looks like a missing swimming goggle. So you put the solution into the bucket, put it against your eye, dip back and blink so all the pollen comes out of your eye and into the solution floating upwards. It's a little weird, but it's very relieving for your eyes, I think. Now, if your allergy problems are mainly in your nose, you might want to go for a neti pot. They have a lot of options here. Some are mint flavored. Don't ask, cause don't know. The solution is saline and it really helps clear out the nose. It's really good if you have a cold as well. So what you do is put the solution into the bottle, twist the cap, and squeeze the bottle into one nostril until the solution comes out the other nostril. And then you switch sides and do the exact same thing. It's probably the weirdest of the bunch. But after you blow out everything and take a deep breath, you'll feel like $1,000,000. I certainly do. Of course, I still have to clean up the mess in the sink. Now, another way that I try to protect my eyes are pollen glasses. I recently just bought these. They're non-prescription and they don't magnify. They're just plain old plastic glasses with big rims to protect you from pollen. So I ride a bike back and forth to school, and in the countryside that is a huge problem because everywhere is pollen. So anytime I go to school or back from school, I have to wash my eyes out before the pollen gets to me. Eventually I told myself enough is enough, and I decided to buy the glasses. Now, they're not 100% blocking, but they block most of the pollen out of my eyes, so it makes for a happier me and a happier you. So give them a go. They still look weird though.
Why, yes, I do feel ridiculous.
And now we saved the obvious one for last, and that is medication. And why is medication saved for last? Because Japan is very strict about medication coming into their country. A lot of stuff normally allowed in America is totally restricted here. You can go to the Ministry of Health's website to check what is allowed and what is banned here, but if you just want to save the hassle, it's best if you just buy the drugs here. Matsukiyo is a well-known drugstore here in Japan, but if you can't find that, just look for this kanji symbol and walk right in. Now, there are various medicines here in Japan that are quite similar back in America, like Benadryl, Allegra, and Claritin, but some brands are very weak, I know from experience, so choose carefully. If you're walking in a drugstore and you're hung up on the language, you can go see a pharmacist inside and ask them, "Kafunsho no kusuri?" and point to where you're miserable and they'll point you in the right direction. So what would you like to know about living here in Japan or just visiting? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, destroy that bell so you know that I'm putting up something new. So, that's all for today. See you.